COVID-19 pandemic, and what needs to be done, if anything, to improve the situation?
Well, I would say there's lots of room for improvement on how the U.S. has been handling the pandemic. I think the biggest thing is just consistency. You know, right now we have an approach that's state-based, and really we need a more national approach so that things are consistent and people really understand what the best way to move forward is and what the best recommendations are on how to keep themselves safe. And I think going forward, you know, we need to make sure at the federal level that we actually do have people in place who are prepared to respond to these pandemics. I think the biggest mistake really was Trump firing the people that were supposed to be in charge of this and really watching out for this and guiding our response.
All right. What do we need to do about the current recession that we are in?
Yeah, so first of all, we need to make sure that people are okay, the very first thing. Taking care of people, making sure they have what they need is number one. So making sure we have things like unemployment systems that are working and getting to people. Making sure that we're responding to those small businesses that do need assistance or loans to get through this period is also something that we need to do in another package, because we know what we did the first time around just wasn't enough for all the businesses that really are in need right now.
Do you think we need another stimulus package in light of the financial challenges imposed by COVID-19?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, certainly we're still hearing from folks that are unemployed or underemployed due to the pandemic in my office all of the time, and we know that they need unemployment benefits. And for many of them, the first round has run out, but yet they're still not able to go back to work. So certainly, at least throughout the end of the year, probably into next year, we're going to make sure again that those people have what they need, and that will include unemployment benefits. And then in terms of another package, I think again we're certainly going to need that for those small businesses that are still struggling.
What about race relations? Following the death of George Floyd, the Kenosha shooting of Jacob Blake, and the protests in Portland, what needs to be done to improve race relations?
So it really is about bringing people to the table. When these people are really sharing with us their experience and saying that they have a problem, we as leaders need to show up and listen and bring everybody to the table. I'm actually part of a group in the Fox Valley that has brought law enforcement and nonprofits and people to the table to say, how do we respond differently in these situations? How do we address the concerns that these communities are raising? So it is possible to bring people to the table and find solutions to these problems, and make sure that all communities feel respected and valued, and that our police officers have the tools and training they need to do their job the best they can.
This school year is largely unprecedented and draws attention to disparities such as a lack of access to internet and other resources. What needs to be done to close that gap in schools?
Yeah, so I can certainly speak as a teacher and also as a parent with kids in schools. First of all, we need to change how we fund schools here. I mean, right now we have areas that just don't have the funding they need and the resources they need to change their students, because our formula says if you're a wealthy area, you're going to get more funding. If you're a poor area, you're going to get less funding simply because of your housing stock. That doesn't help our students. We really need to make sure every school district has the funding they need to provide their students with the best opportunities to learn. We also need to make sure that there is broadband all across the state, because that is one of the biggest barriers, especially in rural Wisconsin. If students can't get access to internet when they have to be learning virtually, that causes them to not get the same level of education as students who have access to that internet.
Perfect. That was it. You did it.
Thank you.
Done.
Perfect.